do it. When it come up to that check, then I always do it. I seen a lot of niggas flex, they be going through it. I seen a lot of bitches flex, they be blowing through it. Look, they cooking up in the pot, yeah. Niggas be up in the lot, yeah. Switch some gears, we're not, yeah. Waiting on this to drop, yeah. Filling my holes the spot, yeah. Find my way to the top, yeah. Filling the shit, telling the chick. Don't ever fuck with this life, so take advice. Karma's a sister to life, the beat is high. And I never thought it'd come to this, niggas. This is not a race, you keep running this niggas' brain.
I'm still living at my mama's house. Studio money got me looking like I'm trapping now. Still don't drink liquor, but I swear I'm always blacking out on every track. Anywhere on the map, you can bet we pack the house. My life a movie, groupies trying to read the caption cloud. The only thing they reading when they see him, they be passing out like flyers. Carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, water vapor. Oh yeah, I'm fire. Yeah, I've been in my element, maintaining my relevance, spreading the good word. Can you smell me? Yeah, I'm heaven sent. I'm killing everything and spewing flames, so there's no evidence. Waving to my ex like the flag of a Confederate. The hardest in the game, but not the one to be meddled with. They see that I'm the shit, not from the color of melanin. They fuck a pill proper. I'm sick, but I don't need medicine. Just blow like dynamite and give them light. No Thomas Edison.
You can flash all this shit and I couldn't find a fuck. I can stare into space and find my soul stuck. I remember when I used to wear them red chucks. I was looking at them stars, then I found the bucks. Then I couldn't imagine that I was still lacking. Once I fell for this angel, I had to change my fashion. Then my heart got colder and then it really blackened. Now I'm living in a city, I don't mean Manhattan. I can still get some love, just a small slice. Need something more filling and I don't mean rice. Into others that they food. No, I'm talking about that money, need to eat tonight. Need more than just a team, need a whole army. Some to chill and record and some to throw a party. If we talking block party, we inviting Cardi. One for the failed body, yeah, Cardi. Tell him my ex is whack, yeah. Nigga wasn't a black, yeah. Sorry, he back, yeah. Know her pussy is whack, yeah. Acting like a snack, yeah. Savage kill the trap, yeah. I don't mind that, yeah. Young niggas out here trying to win again. It don't matter where you from or what part you in. Tell them that we on the way to living like a sin. Go and tell the boss first that we can make it in.
Alexa, pause. Good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. Good morning. First, we got to thank God for being alive once again. So y'all better be thankful because a lot of people didn't make it. This morning I woke up about 3:30, 3:45, and the song that was just playing was on my mind. And I sat up and I had to listen to it, and I wanted y'all to hear it. That was Nay Heights featuring Samaj Savage, 3 a.m. Y'all listen to that song. He has a lot of knowledge in that song. Both of these guys, they're young, but they're smart. And this is why I tell people every day, you never know what a child is going to be. That's why you try to give them the best, put them in the best surroundings, put them in the best light, so that way they can gain the knowledge on their own, and then they teach us things that we miss, so it's a wonderful thing when I listen to these guys, the new generation songs, but today we're going to talk about, just because I forgive you doesn't mean I have to deal with you, And the reason why we're going to talk about that is because people feel like they can constantly say sorry. It's okay. God forgave everybody. That's why Jesus Christ died on the cross. And I constantly tell you that every day, every time I get on the podcast, why Jesus died on the cross for us. However, that didn't mean that Jesus Christ was going to let them, even though he rose, that he was going to let them same people nail him to a cross again, okay, or to the stakes, okay? So just because, you hurt a person and you say sorry, they don't have to deal with you. They might have forgave you, but they don't have to deal with you, and that's just the fact of it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because God says if it's wicked, you have the choice to get away from it, because... And I want to put it in where y'all understand what I'm talking about. if you're around wicked, that stuff rolls off on you because it's the energy. That's just like how a person could walk in a room and change the energy because of their negative vibes and their negative thinking and their negative ways, their negative soul. They can walk in a room and change the whole aura. I don't know if I told y'all this story. I was at work one time, okay, and then we're going to get into the forgiving thing. I was at work one time, and it was time to go. We was almost at the time where we were supposed to clock out, but normally I stay on the line until maybe 2 or 3 minutes before time to clock out, or I'll stay on the line sometime until the time ends, and then I'll go clock out. However, this particular day, the aura changed when the people were starting to leave, and I felt it, and it's not something that you should be afraid of, okay, because it gives us signs, but anyway, the whole aura changed, and it was me and one of my colleagues. It's funny because she was a colleague from my old hood in Harlem, okay, and I actually met her at work here in Charlotte, and it was like amazing because we knew some of the same people, but we didn't know each other. But she was a little bit older than me, and that could be why, but we knew a lot of the same people. And so I said, I'm going to wait for her, because, I was always taught coming up in Harlem, you never roam by yourself. You know what I mean? So I waited for her, and I said, you ready? And she was like, nah, let me just do a couple of more boxes. And I said, okay. And she started doing the boxes, and then I turned around and I looked, and she fell down, okay? And like I told y'all, I had already asked her and told her, let's go, it's time. And she was like, no, let me do a few more boxes. But I had already felt the aura change. So when the aura changed, that means it was time for us to leave, okay? And I don't want y'all to be afraid when I'm telling y'all, because I know it has happened to y'all. However, y'all just didn't notice it or feel it at the time until later. You get this funny feeling over you, and you're like, why am I feeling like this? And then once you move, then that feeling go away because it was meant for you to move. When your aura changes, that means it's time for you to go. Okay? So, long story short, she hurt herself. And I told her, I went to her and I said, didn't I tell you let's go? And she was like, yeah, you did. But she changed the aura because the aura that was coming through was not a good aura. Okay? It was telling us all to go. It's time to go. And it kind of like shook me up a little bit, because it happened to me before, but this particular time it shook me up because I knew her, you know what I mean? And I physically talked to her and said, hey, let's leave, because that aura kept telling me, let's go, So yeah, I was kind of pissed off with her about it, and I mean, she's okay. When she fell though, she really hurt herself. But I felt like that fall could have been avoided if she would have just listened. You know what I mean? Anyway, so we're going to get in. I just wanted to share that with y'all, about auras and feelings that you may feel around you, and your senses telling you it's time to go. Then you need to make preparations to make that move, But now we're going to get into why we don't have to deal with you even though you apologized, okay? And that's going back to the Bible once again. The God gives us all type of signs, and he gives everybody chances. God gives everybody chances. This is the way he works because he wants you to get it right. You know what I mean? He wants you to do things right. It is never too late, okay? But you have to go with deep down in your soul and say, hey, if everybody, as a matter of fact, let me go back a little bit. My mother used to always tell me this saying right here. Tina, she was good for different sayings, I guess she learned it from her people, her family. Her parents and her grandparents, which is my grandparents. But she used to always say, if 2 or 3 people tell you got a tail, you need to turn around and look. Okay? So in other words, if people are constantly telling you something about yourself, and you're saying, well, let me turn around and look and see if this is right. Or let me pay attention to this to see if this is right. You need to pay attention, because eventually you're going to neglect what's going on with you, which is going to hurt you long term. Okay? People are going to look at you as this person that's not teachable, this person that doesn't want to change, this person that just pretty much hate life. Because if you don't change, people are not going to want to deal with you. And that's just the bottom line. We all make mistakes. And there's a million and one times I've had to apologize to people because I might have lashed out on them. I very rarely hurt a person physically or financially, to sum it up. I've personally never been down that road where I hurt a person by doing something negative to them. My way sometime of hurting people is my mouth. I got a ratchet mouth. Sometimes I can go off when a person has gotten me to the bitter end. I can say some things, and then I have to turn around and apologize, and think about how they would have felt, how I would have felt if I was in their shoes with someone else saying what they said to me, So I've learned in my days how to rephrase things. And then if the person doesn't understand me, I try to break it down, and I'll tell them, like, I'm not trying to hurt you, but this is what I see that you're doing, and this is what made me do X, Y, and Z. And then I would apologize, you know what I mean? But that don't mean you do it over and over and over, you know what I mean? Because people, they get tired. They get tired of the negative vibes, you know what I mean? Or the negative doing. You're not looking at their well-being when you're hurting them. You know what I mean? And I've had like a couple of friends in my life, they will make decisions and include me and didn't even ask me, or just came to me and said, well, we doing X, Y, we, what do you mean we? I had plans. And now here you coming in my life with this nonsense. So a person gets tired, and I tell y'all, I think I said this once before, you put a dog in a corner, you know what I mean? He's going to come out biting you. Okay. And whether people know it or not, it's a form of bullying as well. When you constantly doing something to someone and you're not acknowledging, you may not be acknowledging that you're doing it, but you are, and then they lash out on you. They have the right, so you got to look at all aspects of why a person may and may not apologize and why a person may not deal with you. You know what I mean? I can deal with I can talk to a person all day, but that don't mean I'm going to deal with you and be in your surroundings, because I know your aura. I know how you are. So, life is about growing. Okay? We never stop growing until the day we die. And that's just the bottom line. We learn new stuff every single day. And if you don't, something is wrong with you. You need to step back and reevaluate yourself. I had a person that did something real shiesty to me, recent friend, and I really can't call him a friend. I call him an associate, and then I sit back and I say, okay, well, you talk about how the people mistreat you, and maybe this is why. And see, I give everybody one chance. No matter how much you tell me what people have done to you, I give you one chance. Okay? And I'll say to myself, okay, I see you. Maybe you're changing. Maybe you did have this issue and you're changing. Or maybe you do have this issue and you just don't know it. You don't want to accept what you've done to people. Okay? So I'm not going to tell y'all the story of what happened, but I'm just giving y'all some type of insight, and, they kept about, I did this for that person, I did that for this person, blah, 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 and this is what they do to me. But if you're doing negative things to them, that's not friendship. That's not even built in a friendship. So how can you expect people to love you if you're not giving out the same love? You give what you want in return. If you want love and respect, that's what you give. Now people are, like I said, if they're mistreating you, and I'm the type of person, you give me your butt to kiss, I'm gonna give mine right back. That's why I always say I need a little bit more Jesus, because I just don't take anything. You know what I mean? I just can't. And maybe one day I'll get there, but I'm just not there yet. You know what I mean? Where I could just take your abuse and it's okay. People say to me like, why you dealing with so-and-so, but you block them? Because they're doing stuff that I don't like. And that's my way of showing them I don't want to see you and I don't want to deal with you. I'll deal with you when I choose to, when you're on my mind. But for the most part, I don't want the remembrance. That's why I blocked you. Because I don't want to have to deal with seeing you every single day, and the same nonsense that you've done to me is repeating in my head. Okay, that's how you get rid of negativity in your mental. You get rid of them. You just, all sight of them. You don't deal with them. If I don't want to see you, I don't have to. Especially on social media, they got the block button. Block them. Like I said, even if they apologize, you can still block them. When you forgive a person, that's not for them. It's for you. Okay? Because you're the one that got to go to bed every night thinking about what they've done to you. Okay? And stress, I constantly tell y'all, stress is the number one killer. And that stress bears on you when you sit back and you say, oh, I'm not forgiving this person, I'm going to hold my grudge, That stuff eats in your body and in your mind. Oh, I'm not talking to this person, because that's all negative energy. So you accept their apology, but you move on and you be cordial. That's the way it works. You see them, hey, and keep it moving. That don't mean you got to go to dinner with them, hang out with them. They be all up in your house, and you ain't got to do all that. Just be cordial. But you forgave them for you, to get all that negative energy off of you. Because as long as you hold that grudge, that negative energy is on you as well as them. Okay? Now, say you did forgive them and you let them back in your life, and then they repeated the same thing again. And all they keep saying is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And some people, that they use this line, I'm not perfect. Oh, we know you ain't perfect. I'm not perfect either. There's no perfect man but Jesus Christ. So with that being said, if you constantly repeating something, that means you're not acknowledging that it's really wrong. You're just saying sorry because that's what you were taught to do when you do something wrong. But you're not acknowledging that it was really wrong. Because if you did, you wouldn't repeat the cycle. Okay? I tell people this all the time. God is not going to knock you when you do something wrong if you never knew about it. But once you know, that's where it begins. This is why the Bible's an instruction booklet for life. Okay? Because we read, we understand, we live it. Okay? You read it, understand it, and then you live out the way God was asking us to live so we can be happy. Now, if you keep repeating that cycle, that's why, I love the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Because they will teach you, through the Bible, how you're supposed to live. And if you don't get it right, they make you start all over because you missed something. Now, You don't want to keep starting all over. So eventually you're going to get it. Okay? Same with dealing with a human being, or a person of your nature. God is watching. And if he constantly see you repeating the same cycle after it's been told to you that you're doing wrong, you got to start from the beginning. Where you want to build your ladder towards God, but you keep making that same mistake, you're going to drop right back down to the bottom. That's the way it works. I've been through it many a times. That's why I've learned, and God took me through it early, young. I was young when he took me through these channels. I'm glad he did, though, because I know how to treat people. He would make you start all over again. Back to the bottom you go. And you saying, oh, I'm getting closer to God. I'm getting closer to God. And I could feel it. I could feel it. And then all of a sudden you do something out of whack and he'll take you right back down to the bottom. Bow. You're like, why am I getting this feeling like I'm ashamed of myself? And that'd be because you brought that negative aura in your life. And God said, you got to go back to the bottom and start studying again because you ain't right. You ain't right. You got to get this if you want to keep climbing this ladder towards me. Because I don't like fake souls. God don't like, he wants pure souls. People that's about that life, about God, So you can't, that's why I laugh, about some of these churches because it's a bunch of fake Christians, And, I walk in some of these churches and I be like, I can't be around these people. I can feel the aura because it's all fake, and I'll never go back. It's all fake. And you can tell when it's fake. You feel it. You feel it. These people going to leave up out of here and do all the negative things that they possibly can and then come back to church on Sunday. And that's not the way it works. You have to live God's way every single day. And we're not perfect. We can't, God knows, I need a little bit more Jesus. I just do. He knows this, but I'm still climbing that ladder because majority of my life, when you're looking at a hole, like how the sun is in a circle or the moon, okay, when you're looking at a hole, I'm 3/4 up there, okay? And he knows this. So he's still working on me. And, I laugh about it sometimes because I have to pray to him and I have to say, God, I need a little bit more Jesus in me because I can't do this alone. This is why I need you to cover me. I'm not there yet. But he knows I'm 3/4 of the way. I try my best. I try to live godly. I try to eat godly. I try to, do almost everything godly, but dealing with the human being and human flesh is kind of hard for me, because when people come at you, sometimes you can take that abuse, but then sometimes you just, you turn, you do a 360 on them and you ready to lash out. Like, I'm not going to have this negative aura on me. You're going to get up out of my life with that nonsense. It's the way I deal with it because I can be, I can be real negative as well, However, it's not right. And I know it's not right. And I have to sometimes bow down to God. I get on my knees and I say, God, please take this negativity away from me because I don't want to be like this. Put me around all good people and good vibes so I don't have to share that part of my life to other people because I don't like the feeling. I don't like the feeling. But the people will bring that negative aura around you. So you got to pray, and you ask God to just remove them people or that negative aura away from you, and none of us is perfect, y'all. This is a fighting battle every single day, trying to stay close to God. Okay. It's a fighting battle, believe me, but you got to have faith. You see, that's the problem. A lot of people don't have faith and they don't follow the signs. If you don't have faith is the number one key. It's like when I leave up out of here every single day, I pray. Okay? And I pray and I have faith and God delivers. Okay? He delivers. I've been in situations where, and I'm going to tell y'all this story. When I first got here, it scared me so bad. This is when my faith got real strong. Okay. Granted, coming to Charlotte is what got my faith like through the roof. And it's not because this is the Bible Belt. Okay. It got my faith through the roof because I needed God more now than anything, because everything they was doing to me here in Charlotte was wrong. Okay, it was just wrong and I couldn't understand it. So I had to rely on God to continue to move forward. Okay, so I'll tell you this story. I'll never forget it. I'm working. It's when I was working for Kellogg's, and y'all know I'm a vendor. I've been a vendor for many years. Many years. So I took on a job at Kellogg's. I was thankful for the job. I'm running all over the place, having fun. It's a very fun job. It can become stressful at times, but it's a very fun job. Putting up the Kellogg's products, all over the place. And I was coming from South Carolina. And I was having a good day. And I made a wrong turn. Someone called me on the phone and said, this is the other thing. The devil always distracts you. Okay? The devil is powerful, y'all. And y'all need to pay attention. Okay? The devil always distracts you. I got this phone call. Okay? And when I got the phone call, I'm talking to the person because I'm not thinking nothing negative about this person. I'm not thinking of a bad aura because I feel comfortable, talking to them. But the devil comes in all disguises. Okay? So now I make the wrong turn. Okay? I make this wrong turn. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the wrong turn. And I knew it was the wrong turn once I made it, but I was committed. So I make the wrong turn. Now I can't pull up in people's driveways to turn around because that's not nice, to do. I know y'all do that up north, but we gotta respect the people's property. So I took it all the way down and to another block and made the U-turn or whatever the case may be. Well, once I made the U-turn to come on back out, I'm trying to tell the person that I need to get off the phone. They're constantly talking and they're going and they're going and they're going. And I'm like, look, I have to get off the phone. I got to go. Okay. So now, because I made the U-turn, by this point, now I need to focus. Okay. I'm telling myself, Jackie, focus. Because you made the wrong turn. You've been doing this. You've been coming this way for how long? And all of a sudden, this particular block looks like the block that you turned down. That's because you're not focused. Okay. So I told them, I said, listen, I need to get off this phone. So eventually they finally said, okay. And we hung up. And they was asking me so many damn questions. And I was like, I just can't talk to you right now. Or we get off the phone. I make the turn. Okay, the U-turn. So I come up to the stop sign. And I'm sitting there. And I'm like, okay, focus, Jackie. Because when you make this turn up out of here, you got to remember how you came in here to get out of here. So you're going to make the right turn to get out of here. So I'm trying to focus and get back on the right track. I'm sitting at the stop sign and this truck turns. And this truck was coming right at me. Okay? I mean, right at me. And all I can do is brace myself. Because y'all know I've been in a bad car accident prior. So, and I saw, when I was in the car accident before, I saw the truck coming at me, but never thought that the truck would hit us. You know what I mean? Because sometimes things you can perceive things differently than what it really is. However, I didn't perceive that particular Mack truck to hit the vehicle that I was in, but it did. So I perceived this vehicle hitting me this time. So I braced my body. My body just tensed up and I tried to brace it for the hit. Because I said, I'm about to be hit. So I just braced myself. And when I looked up, the truck just swerved. And I mean inches from my vehicle just swerved over. That was the scariest thing in my life. And it was scarier. And I'm going to tell you what was scary. Not the fact that I was about to get hit. What scared me was how the car just swerved over. That's what scared me. Okay? Because I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life. Okay? It's just like somebody just pushed the car. And then the person that was in the vehicle just turned around and looked at me and kept going. It scared the crap out of me. Y'all hear me? I was like, this is some old other stuff here. I don't know. So all I could do was pray. And I'm like, thank you, Jehovah. Thank you so much for saving me. I said, because I felt that hit coming, and you just moved the vehicle out the way. But it scared me. A fear that I never felt before. Okay? And then it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain what I felt. But my faith of God that I had already prayed upon before I left, it's hard to explain, y'all. I had prayed before I left. I always pray before I leave, you know. And then I prayed again, because when I got off the phone, I said, God, please get me back on the right track. Okay? Because I had lost my sense of time. I wasn't focused no more. And I was trying to get my work done so I can get back home to my family. And this particular person stepped in and broke that. Okay? So I had to say a little prayer. And as, like I said, as I pulled up to the stop sign, all of this took place. But it scared me because of how it happened. I was braced for impact, but God covered that. Okay? So that I saw how amazing he was. You know? And I mean, he's done everything and moved other mountains in my life, but this one right here was like, it was different. It was different. From that point, okay, I had to turn myself totally over to him and have more faith in him than I had in myself. Because, you know, sometimes we can have more faith in ourselves than we can have in God. And that's what we miss, you know. I always tell people, God first. Because he will carry you. So it took me a while to recognize these feelings, you know, and then dealing with a lot of negative people around me and a lot of bad things happening around me. This is what brought me closer to God, because I needed him. I needed him so much because I couldn't understand why I was so much negative. And it wasn't negative with me. It was negative with others, but they was bringing that negative aura into my life. So I had to ask God, cover me, because I don't know how to cover myself. You know, the only way I know how to cover myself is to get away from it. I was always one, you know, if there was too much negative aura, I'll pick up and leave. You know, and I'll move somewhere else. People are like, but where did you go? I'm like, oh, I moved to this state. Oh, that's where you at now? Yeah. And what you doing? Oh, I work for this company. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And they looking like, damn, you got a whole life going on. Yes. Because I got away from all that negative aura. Okay? But this particular time, I couldn't pick up and leave. So who was I going to depend on? God. So that's why I got deeper into faith. But I'm glad it happened, because look what happened. The COVID came right after that. And I'm saying to myself, like, oh gosh, here we go. What am I supposed to do? I got to take care of my family. And I could say, you know what? I got to have this faith in God. Do what I got to do. Take all his medicines. His medicines. Y'all notice I said his medicines. Not man medicine. His medicines. Take all his medicines and get out there and do what you got to do. And God bless me all through the whole way. You know? And I'm a person I'm pneumonia prone, y'all. I'm pneumonia prone. Pneumonia prone mean when you've had pneumonia so bad till you was on death's door. And I was definitely on death's door. Seconds away from being announced. Okay? And God brought me out of that as well. And he told me, he said, daughter, do what you got to do for your family. I'm here. I got you. I'm going to carry you through this. And he did. He carried me through it. You know? So that's what I'm saying, y'all. There's levels to this. You know? Yeah, I know y'all hear levels to all everything. Is levels to this God thing as well. You know? You got to be at a certain level to understand the way God works. You know? And he would, like I said, he would constantly take you back to the bottom to rise back up. If you keep repeating it. Now, for those that may feel like, okay, you forgave a person. They've done so much to you and you forgave this person over and over. This is where you hand them over to God. Especially if you got to be in their aura. You hand them over to God. There's no more you can do for them. There's no more you can do, to try to teach them what they're doing wrong, And this is one thing. Women, we have this tendency, we would keep talking and talking, and keep trying to tell a person what they're doing wrong to you, so they can get it right. And we try to wait it out. It doesn't make sense anymore. Once they apologize and, you accepted that apology, you let it go and you give it to God. Let him deal with that person because he's going to deal with them totally different than the way you will. Okay? He's going to move in their life. He's going to make their life so unstable, they have no other choice but to get it right. Okay? And if they accept the unstable, then he give them what they desire. And that's pain. Okay? So this is the way it works. But you got to know God in order to differentiate what is coming at you and why. I'm going to tell you this story real quick. I thought I had did something wrong. I had bought this business. And it was around the time my mother died, And I was running up and down the road, all crazy, working. I was just doing so much, trying to take care of my kids, And I knew something was being neglected, but I just didn't know what was being neglected. And I had to sit back and think about this thing years later. You know what was being neglected? I was being neglected because nobody helped me through it. So what God did in my life was he stripped me of everything. So that way I can't help nobody and I can focus on myself. I had to learn this now because I kept saying, well, what did I do wrong for God to, strip me of this stuff? I ain't do nothing wrong. I don't think I did. But he had to strip me so people could stop looking at me. Because all they saw was money. That's all they saw. They looked past me. They didn't care about my feelings. They didn't care about if I was sick. They didn't care about nothing. All they cared about was my money. That I worked hard for every single day. So God had to strip me for that so I could see the ones that really cared and really loved me. And those that didn't care if I didn't have any money anymore. That they was going to still be around me. And still be in my company. He wanted to see. And he needed me to see. Because he already know. He needed me to see. And this is why sometimes when you go through things like that, it's not always because you've done something wrong. Sometimes it could be because the people around you is constantly doing you wrong and he need to check them. And you just sit back and just watch the show. Because God is going to win all the time. Because he would strip people of everything that you've been stripped of and more. Because they only saw what they wanted to see and didn't see the real you. Okay? And that's the thing about karma. And I guess that's why I was listening till 3 a.m. this morning because that's what Nate Heights talk about. He talk about karma. You know, karma's nothing to play with, y'all. You can have good karma and you can have bad karma. You put negative out there in the universe, negative's going to come back. And it may come back ways that you would never imagine. Putting bad karma out there can be done a lot of ways. Okay? People think sometimes by ignoring others, by sometimes even getting away from certain people. If God didn't intend for it to be that way, or how it was done, that's why you have to watch the signs. God speaks to us and speaks to us through signs. By things happening around us. Just like, the lady, I don't know if y'all saw me marketing for the lady, she was trying to bury her sister. And, I donated and I marketed for her to try to get her, and I told her, I said, we're going to get this done by this weekend. And she was like, I hope so. And I was like, you will. And I prayed for her. And I donated more money. And I said to myself, like, God, I'm putting this in your hands that she get this money up. Because there's nothing, the worst feeling is going to bed every night knowing that your people are in the morgue. Okay? That's the worst feeling ever. Even when you unset their funeral arrangements, just knowing that they're in the morgue and that you got to stand that day to send your people away. That's the worst feeling. Y'all know I've been through that feeling a lot. I buried a lot of my family. So I know what it feels like. So I had to put myself in her shoes. And God took care of it. It's Monday morning. And she was able to tell me and tell the world she was able to put her sister to rest. That was the best feeling ever for me. Because I would get up and what's the odds of getting up on TikTok and you scrolling and then, or you don't even scroll, the first post you see is that person and you like, oh God, you again, okay? It's a reason why and that was the sign. God said, I need you to help her, okay? I didn't know if he wanted me to help her financially. I didn't know if he wanted me to help her market or he wanted me to just pray for her. So I did all three. Because I wasn't sure. I just followed the signs. Every time it came to me, I said, okay, this is what I need to do. And let me do it. I'm going to stop what I'm doing for the moment because this is what I need to do. Because he's showing me this is what he wants me to do. And see, this is what happens. Now she was in Virginia, right? It was crazy. This is why you got to follow the signs. My grandson is in Virginia. My grandkids. As soon as I look at her posts, I scroll it, keep on going. Here he calling. And I'm like, okay, God, I got it. You want me to help the lady in Virginia? I got this. Okay, I got it. You're going to always see signs. And that's how you know what to do. But you got to know how to read the signs. And it takes levels. You got to study. And that's just the bottom line. You got to study how God works. But God said, I need you to do your part. And I'll take care of the rest. Always forgive and let God handle it. This is Jacqueline Richardson. Ms. JJ Diamond. Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. I love y'all all. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.